Vaibhav this side, and in this video I want to talk to you about pendulums and why this is the most detrimental trap that we can fall into whenever we are trying to achieve our true goals in life, and how this trap is blocking you from manifesting your desires. I want you to stick to the very end of this video because this is something that can help you to understand why you are not able to break free from this inner conflict that you feel within, which is sucking out your energy, and how to free yourself to move ahead in life with more freedom and joy. So in this video, I want to talk to you about pendulums. And what is this pendulum, you ask? Well, it's a concept from book called Reality Transurfing, written by Russian quantum physicist Vadim Zeland. And in his book, he has presented the quantum model of reality and has explained why events occurs the way they happen in our lives. So this book is a powerful way to manage your reality and events in it. Okay. So Vadim Zeland, he is a quantum physicist and he had series of realization which led him to write this book. Okay. So coming back to what pendulum are. So basically these are the energy structure which is purely energy, and it forms when group of people come together to think thoughts that are similar in nature, that have similar frequencies. So to give an example, let's suppose there are few people who came together in a room and they start discussing about, let's say, politics, or say about cricket match, or started gossiping about a certain topic. And now what is happening is that these people are thinking similar thoughts, and they are emitting thoughts energy of similar vibrational frequency, and all that energy that they are emitting comes together to form a structure of its own. It begin to operate as an entity of its own, and its main purpose is survival, which it gets by constantly feeding on the energies of the people under their influence. Now, the structure is referred to as pendulum because the more people who become adherent to these pendulum and feed their energies to it, the more powerfully it sways. Now, the sole purpose of these pendulum is to ensure their survival and to prolong their existence. And the way they do it is by influencing more and more people and making them adherent to them through their thoughts and emotions, and try to attract more people to gain more power and ensure their long-term survival. So, pendulum goal is to provoke an emotional response from within you so that you become attached to it and then start feeding it with your thought energy. Okay. So, to give an example, whenever you see people coming together in religious places and people gathering to watch a cricket match, say in stadium, and people attending political rallies, you can feel that energy of pendulum working there, and you can see that these people are kind of hypnotized by the idea that they are being discussed in those gathering and acting as everyone else does. Okay, that's the reason why riots and protest happens. People are so much under the influence of these pendulums that they lose their own consciousness, their own ability to think and take decision or choose between what is right and what is wrong, and they start doing horrible things. And later, when someone asks them why you did this, they absolutely have no recollection of their own actions because they were so much under the influence of this pendulum that they were kind of hypnotized and were acting like a mindless person. Now you may ask, why should I even care about these pendulums, or why should I try to avoid them? Well, you want to avoid pendulums, and especially destructive negative energy pendulums, because they take away from you your freedom and right of choice. You should avoid them so you can actually live a life that is best for you instead of living a life pre-decided by other people belief and thoughts. Because when you get hooked onto pendulum, your thoughts, emotions and actions are greatly influenced by it, and in this process you lose your right of freedom. You move away from your ideal lifeline. And if you don't know what lifeline is, I have made a separate video about it and about the parallel realities. So click the little I button to watch it. But basically, when you shift from your ideal lifeline, you start to experience more negative thoughts and emotions that are influenced entirely by the pendulums. Pendulum take away the right of people for thinking for themselves and goes by the principle of do as I do and the mentality of us versus them. The way pendulums hook you in is by getting emotional response from you and then control you with fear, inferiority complex, anger, sense of guilt, and false importance. That's basically the energetic structure of pendulum hijacking people's thought, people's feeling, and everything is being hijacked by this pendulum. So they have almost no recollection of their own intent, their own desire, because pendulum just hijacked your unique individuality. You start to think that these are your thoughts and you start to identify with them, but in reality they are not your thought. They are the recycled thought of other people that you have just picked up from the pendulum. This is actually the reason why most of the people today are living unhappy and unfulfilled life. People who easily get hooked onto pendulum, and most people spend their entire life thinking thoughts and chasing desire and goals that aren't even theirs. And because of this reason, they chase these desires and goals their entire life, and even when they get to those, they feel unfulfilled and dissatisfied. So understand that pendulum will try to emotionally provoke you and install within you the thoughts that aren't even yours and they don't even benefit you. They only benefit the pendulum. Pendulum will try to get an emotional response from you, and once you do that, and once you start acting in a way that is in the favor of pendulum, you start to get more and more attached and you start to give away your freedom to live a happy life that you actually want. Pendulum's most useful tool is importance, and the more importance you give to anything, your sport team, your government, your religion, anything, the more importance you give to it, the more you identify with it, the more it has emotional control over you, the more it is able to influence action from you, the more it is able to hook you with your thought energy. And for these pendulum to form, it really don't need people to be physically present. For example, these social medias or these online forums that we have nowadays. On Facebook nowadays there is, if we talk in political sense, Modi supporters and Modi haters group and pages. They share these posts and fight in comment sections. All these people are under the influence of this pendulum and are tightly attached to them. And the funny thing is that they don't even know it. Both sides equally fueled a pendulum without even knowing it. Always remember, it does not matter to the pendulum if you are for or against it. But as long as you are emotionally attached and involved, it is receiving your energy and you are making it stronger. Media channels running all this news about negativity all day long, they are also the part of this bigger pendulum and trying to hook their audience in the same pendulum that they are in. That's why I quit social media and TV completely. They want to invoke these emotional response out of you so that pendulum can benefit from it and ensure its survival. These pendulum are all over the society, all over the world. So for example, this traditional route of going to school and then attending college and finding a job and struggle to survive in that job for rest of your life, it's also a part of this societal pendulum. And people around you, for example your parents, your friends, your relative, who are under the influence of this pendulum, will always discourage you to follow your own path. Maybe you want to start a business or do music or art, whatever. That will never be encouraged, because in that case you are going against the set rule of pendulum and their followers will try to get you hooked in. Because again, the more follower pendulum can have, more powerful it gets. So now the question becomes how you can free yourself from this pendulum. So first and foremost, be very conscious. Raise your level of awareness and consciousness. What you really need to do is to stop being emotionally reactive to them and just be an observer of them. Because when you react on emotional level, then you are giving energy to them. For any time someone tries to inflict negativity upon you, you must in that moment realize that you are being confronted with a destructive pendulum. You must not get emotionally involved or provoked, otherwise you will get hooked on to its energy. So anytime you come across a person or situation that is provoking an emotional response within you, anytime you feel a sense of strong urge to react, acknowledge in that moment that you are being confronted with a pendulum and simply remove yourself from that situation, or simply observe it as an observer with zero emotional response. Usually people who are easily attached emotionally to certain things that happen around them are beneficial to pendulum, because not only do they feed their own energy, but they also attract other people from their friend circle or social circle. So let's take an example. Let's say a person who watches a lot of news, and this person who watches, say, some government policies has changed, or some political leader or celebrity has done something wrong, and he's angry about it and gets very emotionally involved in it, and then he start to tell all their friends and family about it, and start to have a conversation on social media, posting about it on Facebook, and then this person meet you and started the same conversation with you and acting emotionally filled with anger and rage. So these type of people help the pendulum gain much more traction, because they give them such an emotional response from within themselves that they attract so many other people to the pendulum energy. Do your best to avoid these type of people. If you do encounter people who are always trying to provoke you emotionally with their negative stories, and just don't start to react strongly to what they have to say, and don't get emotionally involved in their stories. Another example could be where, let's say, you want to start a business, and these pendulums will come into play and make you feel fearful or afraid or anxious for going your own way. In spite of you reacting to them with these emotions, recognize that this is the pendulum trying to take your life energy, and just be an observer. Just be more conscious. Just observe the game rather than being the part of it. Okay? So if you look at the pendulum, you will notice that the farther point away from the source swing with the maximum energy, and more you move toward the source, you become more and more observer, lesser you swing with this energy. By being an observer rather than being a participant, you will free yourself from these energy structures. Do not react to them, because this is what they want you to do. Do not showcase the emotions that they want to get out of you. Simply recognize that these pendulums are trying to test you, and by choosing not to react to them, you are not feeding them your life energy. The second way to defeat a pendulum is to act erratically against the pendulum. So every pendulum has a certain script or predetermined script of how an event should unfold. So to give an example, let's say you are having argument with your partner and she is mad at you for something. So let's say she taunt you or say something like, I have never seen a lazy person like you in this world. You don't put your shoes in place or put your clothes in closet or whatever. So now this pendulum of, let's say the pendulum of partner argument, it will come and try to hook you in. The script of pendulum here says that you should argue back with your partner and shout at her, and then your partner will react and your argument should escalate, right? So this is the script of this pendulum, and this is how pendulum expect you to follow the script. So let's suppose in this same example your partner says you are such a lazy person, and instead of you reacting to it going as per the pendulum script, you flip the script and act as per your own script. So when your partner say you're a lazy person, you simply smile back and say something like, I may be a lazy person, but this lazy person loves you a lot, and go and hug her. So what you really did is that you have flipped the pendulum script and sways it away. You are not swinging with it, okay? That's the reason usually witty persons get out of any argument so easily. They crack the jokes and simply change the pendulum script. Other example could be, let's say you want to start a business and want to make a lot of money, but you are conditioned by this pendulum to think that business is not for me because society has taught me job is the way to go. Now, once these doubts and fears comes creeping, what you do is you act erratically to them. You start just becoming enthusiastic and excited to do business, and you say, this is the way to go. I am going to start my business. And you just become excited instead of feeling down in fear. You just reframe it and you have sort of force yourself to feel excited, and once you do that, this basically sways the pendulum momentum the other way. So once it want to sway to one way, you are basically saying, oh, I am excited to do a business, and then it just stops pendulum's way a little bit, so you don't give your energy to it. Rather, you block this energy flowing to the pendulum, and once you do that, then the pendulum doesn't receive energy. Acting erratically basically changes the script. The script of the pendulum wants you to say that you must be sad, you must have doubts, and you must have fear. Now that is the way I'm taking your energy. But then you flip the script saying, no, I'm gonna be enthusiastic, I'm gonna be happy, that I am living my life, I am living my dream, and then it defeats the momentum of the pendulum. Now you will always be a part of pendulum whether you like it or not. But rather, you being adherent to these destructive pendulum, what you can do is that you can create your own pendulums. This is how people become trendsetter. This is how a new thinking revolution is brought into the world. You must have seen people who have started something or given a new idea to the world, and initially they were denied by the society. Only later everyone become their followers. These are the people who decided to go against the established destructive pendulum and created their own pendulum. They are the one who break free from the stereotype. With that, I am concluding this video. I hope this has been useful to you. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, may peace be upon you.